Are you looking for a podcast where you can hear from real people regarding their real dental drama? If so, then you've come to the right place. Join hosts Bethany Petty and Dr. Rena Kuba as we dive into the solutions we've created and the mistakes we've made while managing dental drama. Let's get started.
I am so excited. As promised, you released the link to the hub.
Yes.
You actually released it earlier than I thought you were going to, and I was like, it's here.
I know. We got in a mode and we were like, let's do it. So we actually did it by the end of the month, April 30th. Yeah, it's live.
I think, because I thought it was coming out like on a Friday, but y'all got it on a Wednesday or Thursday. Uh-huh. Yeah, and I was like, here it is. So for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, shame on you for not listening. It's a resource center.
Yes.
So like documents to help you get going. And so taking things from oh yes, you should send an offer letter. Yes, you should, do audits of your building to make sure it's safe. Off you go. Good luck with that. These are the tools that are like, how do I do that? Where's the recipe? Yep. The recipe is available. Even our digests, like when we were first starting our subscription model and we didn't have as many subscribers as we have now, but so for people that are like, oh, can I still have access to that? That's all on the hub now too.
It's all there. Yeah. We've got, I was just looking at our list of products and we've got a huddle bundle. How do we put together a good morning huddle? What's a good agenda? Like, you've got that resource. You don't need to think about it any further. We've talked a lot about annual performance reviews. Okay, go to the hub. There's an annual performance bundle that has multiple different options of an annual performance review, how to conduct those. Offer letter, like what is an offer letter? I've never done an offer letter before for a new employee. We've got a bundle of those where there's one for a business assistant, RDA, RDH. It's just the easy button is what I would say.
And I would say if you are a employee of the practice, so you're not the owner basically, and maybe you're getting tasked, like if you're the manager or you're the assistant who's helping with certain things, or you're the hygienist and you're like, we need to be doing this, go check out the hub and go let your doctor know what all is available there for you and say, hey, can we buy this? This will make our lives easier. Like if you're the hygienist who's in charge of morning huddles and you're like, I am doing the best I can, but I want to know what are some other tips and a better way of doing this. So I'm going to encourage everybody. Yes. Like this is a resource. There's resources for everybody on there, not just the doctor.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely go check it out. And we'll continue to add. So what you see there when you go to that hub it'll be ever changing. We'll be adding resources as we go. So I'm super excited about that. And then I'm also excited about today's topic, but I want to make sure before we dig into it that we do not lose our male listeners. To me, this is a topic that is very applicable to all genders here.
And I think you and I tend to notice it more with females, maybe because we're more vocal about it, or maybe, I don't know, but I think a lot of men could be feeling the similar, having similar challenges. So yeah, we just want to make sure, even though it's, in time for Mother's Day and it's seemingly female focused, but I think it is generally applicable. And when you mentioned talking about this, I was like, oh, I don't know that we could get into some weeds here. People, thinking we're trying to tell them how to parent or how to whatever, and that's not the goal of this at all. No. So why don't you kick it off with like what your goal is? I think you mentioned like female empowerment, and again, gentlemen, like just empowerment, I guess, from I'm not getting the right words. Let you take over.
Well, I was, when I really thought about it for today, it is like I say, I get on a soapbox because as a working mom, I'm very passionate about working moms, and I think we tend to, I told you probably 8 out of 10 women that I sit with, whether it's practice owners or whether it's the employees within the practice, have this guilt that they carry being a working mom. And I'm very passionate about being aware of that guilt, dismantling that guilt, and empowering ourselves to be a fantastic employee and also a fantastic parent. And I think both of those should and could coincide without us feeling guilt for either. We shouldn't feel guilty being away from our kids at certain times. We shouldn't feel guilty having to be away from work at certain times. It really should be a symbiotic working relationship, and it's not that right now. And I sit across from so many women in particular, and I think it's because we tend to be more vocal about it. We're just beating ourselves up.
Well, and most of our employees are women.
Yeah.
So it just by the numbers of who you're
Sheer
talking
quantity.
to. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do see a lot of guilt associated with it, and I think you and I are working moms. And I think the vantage point that we can hopefully provide today, my goal in this would be freedom from that guilt, reframing the working mom mindset, that it's not a compromise, it's actually a blessing, and it's a good thing for us as an individual to be able to work when we can, or if that's what we choose to do, that we should feel proud of that, not ashamed of that or guilty of that, for that. So I really want to approach today from how do we reframe that? How do we approach balancing both of these in a way that's beneficial for us individually as a female or as a mom, that we can tackle this in a way that allows us to be great at work and great as a mom, and to quit this beat up session that we do to ourselves.
Well, I think for me early on, like when I started the practice, I mean, that's exactly, I was like, I feel like I think I still felt good about my dentistry, but I was like, am I a, crappy practice owner? And, the way I deal with my employees and things like that, like just the unknowns, and you're just kind of making up your answers as you go along. Am I a crappy wife because now I'm trying to run a business and be a wife and bringing work problems home, and then you throw kids into the mix, and now you're like, oh, okay, I'm a crappy owner, a crappy wife, and a crappy mom. And I think early on I absolutely felt that way, and I'm trying to think of what the turning point was for me, because I'm certainly not that way now. And I think part of it was, seeking counsel, getting some help, like you coming in and helping me run the business so that I'm not a crappy business owner. And I think from the kid standpoint, maybe some of that too was, just the realizations of some things that as my kid, I think I felt it more when they were little. And then as they were getting into like kindergarten or first grade or whatever, and me going, oh gosh, I should like go have lunch with them, or I should go to be a field trip chaperone. And my younger one going, I don't want you to.
Yeah.
Like in kindergarten, I'm like, why not? Nah, I just don't, and she's just one of those kids who, she didn't want grandparents to come for Grandparents' Day. And dare I say, like, she was embarrassed by us or whatever. But it was a different perspective for me to go, okay, you're okay. Yeah. You still had fun on your field trip. You don't feel like I neglected you. In fact, like, that was the older one. The one field trip I went on completely drained me.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I still remember it was a kindergarten field trip. And we were in charge of 4 kids, one of which being mine. I'm like, how hard could this be? We get on the bus. And I'm like, this is so much fun. Like, when I'm done with dentistry and my neck can't work anymore, maybe I'll go back and be a kindergarten teacher. So look at how cool this is. 4 hours later on the bus back, I'm like, oh, for the love of God, I do not know how these people do. You couldn't pay me enough. And it was like I was only in charge of 4 kids, one of whom was my own. But it was just a lot. And I was like, you do not get paid anything. Like, sit in your dental office. Like, you are so lucky that you have so much control over things. You get paid far better. But it was a draining day, and I'm like, oh God, please don't ask me to go on another field trip. I really did not enjoy that at all. And then here comes my my next one, and she's just like, no, or if you go, don't wear your hair in a bun. And I'm just like, oh, okay, so now you want me to be the Lululemon mama, which I am not. So, okay, well, nope, I'm going to wear a bun in my hair, and I'm going to wear my scrappy workout clothes that I get at Sam's, and oh, so you don't want me? Great, I can go back to work then and go make some money, and not have to chase you and your ragtag friends for free. Like, so I think for me, maybe that was the moment where I was like, you're fine, and I can't go to everything. And selfishly, it was like, this doesn't make any sense. I'm out there running like a fool where I could be seeing patients in the comfort of my office and making some money.
Yeah.
So selfishly, I think something clicked along there, but I think it was more, they were fine.
Yeah.
You were fine. And so, and then as growing up, my parents had to work. They're immigrant parents. They're busting their butts day and night. So I think just in my mind, I guess maybe without me having that, and when my mom did turn into a stay-at-home mom at some point, when there was like 3 of us then and daycare was too expensive, I've seen the decline in my mom from being a professional to then like, and when I say decline, what I'm talking about is like when we went off to college and then she's got nothing to do.
Yeah.
And so I just try to remember that every time where I'm like, oh, I'm going to retire and I'm out. I'm like, well, what else are you going to do?
Yeah.
You need to have something to keep you going. I'm getting off the mark here, but my point is at some point you kind of like, if you allow yourself to go, and going, am I selfish? No. And this, I think, is your point, and you say it far better, but I'm working to provide for you so that we can do the things that we can do.
Yeah.
And so I think it was that reframing for me that was like, wait a minute. And I've got the ability here to impact not only my patients, but also my employees, give them a safe place to work and give them. So I think for my kids to be able to see that mama can do that, I think, to me, that's very powerful and hopefully a longer term lesson than I came to you and to your Valentine's Day party.
Right.
Now, maybe, again, I'm going to go back and say I'm a bit selfish with that. I don't want to go to the Valentine's Day party.
Yeah.
I got to go mix and mingle with the teachers and, do you need more juice? Or here, baby, don't forget to clean up your cookie. Or I don't want to do all that. Yeah. So I'll do it maybe once a year if I have to, but it's not my so for people that are more social and want to do all of that, but do you have to do all of it?
Right.
Or feel guilty about it if you don't? I guess to me, I'm like, no, why should I do every one of these? Let another parent go in and have an opportunity to go.
Right. And I think the key thing is to find your place in all of that and to feel good about it. Like the things that you are participating in, you feel good about. You look forward to it. Like, and again, this being a parent is all about sacrifice, but I think also we've got to be really careful to, out of guilt, do things that we just feel like, oh, I'm supposed to do this. I'm the same way. And again, the last place I want to be is at a elementary party. I don't enjoy them. They stress me out. The level of noise and movement, and I see danger everywhere when I'm watching kids. Like I see them heading toward a chair that I know they're going to trip over, and my motherly instincts take over. And so the whole time I'm like, there's danger everywhere. Like one of these kids is going to get hurt. It's just very stressful for me. And I've realized I don't do good in those settings. I've not been since my first child's kindergarten party. I've never been back to one. And other moms may look at that and go, oh my gosh, you are awful. No, I'm not. Because the stress that would cost me is not worth it. Plus, then I'm not a good, fun person for my kid in that moment because I'm stimulated in a way that is not good for me. And then they're not getting the best of their mom. Or then I come home that evening and I'm exhausted. So to me, what is fueling for me is work. I enjoy my work. It is something that fills me up. I get a chance to be creative. I get a chance to use all this education that I've put time and money into. I feel good about what I'm doing and the difference that I'm making. And I come home fueled up by that. And then when I get home, I am full mama mode. That phone is aside. I'm not checking my email. I'm not taking phone calls past a certain point. And I am 100% invested in cooking dinner for my family, talking with them, having really good intentional conversation, I'm there. I'm 100% mom mode. I have not thought about them all day long. I will be honest. I have not been checking my phone to see if anybody's texted me. I haven't been checking school emails. I haven't been trying to plan some fun event for them. I have been off of mom mode literally for the entire day. And then when I get home, I'm 100% mom. And I see that being a struggle for a lot of women that I sit across from, because they're trying to be both. They're trying to be 100% invested in their job, and also my kid texts me throughout the day needing social advice throughout the day, so I'm needing to take these little breaks to like enter into their world and coach them throughout the day. And so I see women who are literally divided the entire day. They are full-time work and full-time mom.
Simultaneously, trying to be
both. And it's wearing them smack out. So I'm sitting and looking at this woman who is stressed to her max because she feels like she's unsuccessful in both categories. And again, this is where I will say some things that every listener is going to have to toe the line and figure out what's right for them. But to me, it's very hard to be simultaneously both. And I think back to the days, this is going to make me sound old, but back in my day, there weren't cell phones. I didn't have any access to my parents throughout the day. Zero. Zilch. And you know what? I was fine. I figured it out on my own, and I was fine. The teachers were there. The staff was there. Like, it was meant to be a world that I could be dropped off as a child, and I was fine. And I think because of cell phones and more accessibility and all of that, kids do have access to their parents throughout the day now. And so it's hard for a mom or a dad, for that matter, to completely shut off and just be a work person for an extended period of time. But I think that's part of the stress that parents in general, but moms are the ones that are voicing it to me the most, that they feel fragmented, that they can't be fully in one place or the other. And I don't think that's mentally good for us.
And so my husband has put it best, and I guess I don't want to get into like, oh, I'm trying to give parenting advice, because everybody needs to do what's right, feels right for them. But my husband has said our job is to make sure that we raise independent kids, because if they're dependent on us and we're not there, then we've not done our job. And so I come from a very sheltered, protected, and I'm like, yeah, I think the reason I kind of was able to get away from that is because I was a middle kid and I just kind of, always did my own thing. But I look at my siblings and I'm like, oh gosh, I'm so glad I'm not as reliant on certain things.
Yeah.
So a lot of that goes into personality and blah, 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 blah. So without getting into the weeds of all of that, I think for me, yes, there are times where I'm just like, oh, I need to be there to, and I think that, when he kind of pointed that out to me, I was like, you're right. So if I'm like, oh, mama, can you add more to my lunch account if I get that email? No, I can't. That's something that you should have been asking me to do before. And so now, might you not have lunch? Yeah. Does that break my heart? Yep. But I'm making you a better person, that you're going to take that seriously going forward. Because what if I was dead? And so I've not done you a service if I'm checking phone all day, guiding you through whatever issues you're having. What if I died tomorrow? What if I'm in a car accident? And then now you are not self-sufficient. So I've not done you a service.
Yeah.
And then if I am on the phone with you all of those times, like probably I'm not getting to you in the time you need anyway.
Yeah.
So you're getting whatever interpretation you're taking of what I am able to send you.
Yeah.
And then all the while, I'm being a crappy employee or a crappy dentist because I'm distracted. So same thing, like I don't check my phone to do all of that. My husband is going to have to go back to work full time starting tomorrow. So since the pandemic, he's been home, working from home the whole time. And we both kind of are like, oh gosh, if the kids needed something. Then we both were like, you know what? They're in middle school, almost 12 and 13. Like, y'all need to start figuring this out. You've got resources there. You need to. So we both are going to have to leave early.
Yeah.
You're going to have to get on your bus. Like, the fact that one of us was there to be a backup, like, I'm not doing you a service.
Right.
You have to figure it out.
Yeah.
And so I think, and I feel good about that. Like, I'm empowering you to not be stuck on mommy and daddy to do all of this for you.
Right.
So I think, I think you were mentioning a client interaction you had.
Yeah.
Do you mind talking about?
Yeah. So this kind of goes into this feeling of I need to be at all of these things. So I was in a team meeting the other day, and we were reviewing some PTO time off policies. And in this particular practice, what we set up is there is a penalty if you don't put in that time off request with 2 weeks notice. And again, this was bred out of problems. Like, we needed to create a policy to kind of tighten some things, because it's a team full of moms that were, little field trips or little team class parties or things would come up, and then there would be a last minute request like, oh, I got to be there at this event. And so in order to kind of tighten that up and get people thinking more in advance, there was this if you didn't ask with 2 weeks notice, then you were penalized. Meaning, if you needed to be off for 2 hours, you were charged for 4 hours because you didn't
of your PTO time. Yeah.
And so again, it created this dialogue of, well, what if, we don't have 2 weeks? What if they're in the finals for a state championship and we just find out the week before that they're going to be in? Okay. As a working parent, you're having to then decide, is it worth me losing double time to go to that state championship, or am I choosing to not do that? And I think the choice to not do it for a lot of people feels wrong. Like, oh, I can't, I have to be there. This is a big event. Like, I've got to be at my kid's event. Okay, but why? Why becomes my question. Is it because you feel like your kid will never forgive you if you aren't there? Is it because you want to be there? You enjoy that. That is fulfilling to you. Okay, that is worth it then. Take the penalty because you desire to be there. It's like you live for that football game or whatever it is. Great. Do that for yourself. But if it is, I feel bad, or I feel like my child is going to think negatively of me, or they're going to feel disenfranchised somehow because I wasn't there, that's the wrong reason. And it's that kind of guilt that gets us into trouble, because at the end of the day, our jobs are a gift to our children. They're a blessing. Our job is not an inconvenience. Our job is not something that's taking away from our child's life. Our job is something that's contributing to our child's life, not only financially. In our family, I tell people this all the time, I would be a terrible stay-at-home parent. I would be miserable, because my fulfillment is not cooking and housework and living around my children. Cooking and housework brings me zero joy. I have to build myself up for it, and I'm exhausted after I've done it. So filling my life with that, I would be a very miserable woman. Also, I like to use my brain. I like to problem solve. I like to feel like I'm making an impact beyond my home. Making an impact with my children, absolutely, that's important to me, but I want it to go further than that, because I know that there's going to come an end where my children don't need my impact anymore. Like you said, if I'm doing my job as a parent, I'm raising children that don't need me past a certain point. And so if I were to invest all of this creative mind that I have and all this problem solving into only my children, there is an end to that. And then I go, what do I do with myself at that point? So not only is it financially contributing to my children, but it's creating a mom that's fulfilled in life and is feeling like I'm making an impact, and therefore I'm a happier, more satisfied woman when I'm around them. And we talk about that with our kids. Like, that is an open line of communication. You know, sometimes I have to travel for work, and sometimes I get sad when I'm leaving, like, oh, Mommy, why do you have to leave? Like, I miss you when I'm gone. And as a mom, that can eat you alive. Like, I'm doing them such a disservice because I'm leaving them right now. No, that is not the way we talk about trips in our household. I never apologize for being gone, ever. It is a privilege that I get to travel with my work. It is a privilege that I get to earn money. And then when, you know what, we got a movie tonight that we get to go to. You know why? Because Mommy and Daddy's job help provide for fun things like that. Sometimes if my kids are complaining because I had a long work day and I didn't get back until right before bedtime, they're like, why were you gone so long? I said, did you have a good dinner tonight? Yeah, we had a really good dinner. We made homemade pizzas and blah, blah, blah. You know why you got to eat homemade pizzas tonight? And they say, your job or Daddy's job. That's right. We have all of these good things because we work, and it's a privilege. So we don't talk about work as a burden or
I have to.
Oh gosh, Mommy's got to go to work. No, it is a gift. And in so doing, we're training kids that will hopefully view work as a blessing one day, not as a torment, but as a good thing. And so I think we've got to be careful about, I can't be at an event being this, I'm so sorry, I've failed you, I can't be at that state championship. No, I haven't failed you. I haven't failed you at all in that. I can't be at that, but I will be rooting for you from where I'm at. And I can't wait to hear about it. And that's okay. And our kids are going to be okay. We have not failed them in that. So I do think that's a big part of the guilt we bear.
When I think that was once, you know, I saw that where I was like, oh God, I feel really bad. I'm the only parent. That's, first of all, no, you're not. There's plenty of parents that aren't there. And that my kids were fine. You know, like in kindergarten, and it's like, oh, I couldn't make it to the Christmas party. I didn't know about it in enough time. And they were fine. Yes. And I'm like, okay, tell me about the Christmas. Even like my clingy one that's very much a mama's, and she's fine. And so I'm like, okay, well, and I would not have enjoyed that Christmas party anyway, for all the reasons I just said. And I'm like, no, I don't want to be there. Now, I would love to see her happy little face and all of that. But I think that too, I've seen, my husband said it, my sister went once, and she's like, yeah, they don't even like, you know, at the Christmas party there was beanbag toss, and there was decorate your cookie, and there was make an ornament. So they're not even around their parent. They're off doing their things. And so then I was like, oh, now I don't feel bad at all about not missing that, because I still got to ask her about it when she got home. Tell me about your ornament. Why'd you pick these colors? What else did everybody else do? Who else? And the kids are just fine.
Yeah. And
so to me, I agree 1,000%. Like it's normal to feel some of that guilt, but again, it's what are you doing? Are you going and just going to a spa day every day, all day, and that's why you're not going? No, you are doing something productive. You're being a productive member of society, and you're teaching them those lessons too. That I'm proudly going into work so that I can not just get paid, but I can provide a service. I can help people.
Yes.
And even if you're the bagger at Kroger, like, you are helping people.
Yes.
You're contributing to society. You're making a difference in somebody's day because they don't have to bag their own groceries. Like,
that's right.
So to me, it's a universal, concept, and I just think that the guilt has to go away. Because when you tell me about that, then, like, where this doc is ready to pull his hair out because half his team is missing at any given time, really at the end of the day, then that's less productive time, less patients you can see, less patients you can help. So is that then, like, who's getting the pay cut here?
Yeah.
Because we're not, are you going to be okay with that? Like, as a practice, we are producing less, which means no raises. Oh, you don't want that.
Right.
Okay, this math doesn't work that way. It's not my law.
It
can't be both. And so to me then, I start going, okay, if I was that doc, I would start calling in some temps or start hiring.
Yeah.
And when people are like, oh, well, why are we looking for because at any given time, I have 3 RDAs out in a week for hours at a time, and I can't run a business like that.
Yeah.
So if I can find somebody part-time to supplement, if I can find a good temp, or if I can find, and hopefully that team goes, oh, you're talking about me. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Look at how many time off requests you've put in. And I'm a mom too. I get it.
Yeah.
So, but I just can't be there for every last thing. If you need to be there for every last thing, then maybe this isn't the office for you. I'd hate to lose you, but I'm trying to run a business too.
Yeah.
And so it seems like you've got other priorities. Maybe you need to look for a job that's like a, maybe you're a Uber driver or a Amazon work from home person, something with more flexibility. But if you want to stay in this career and make this kind of money and have something beyond when your kids want you to come on these field trips, then I need you to figure that out. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but at the end, I've got to make sure that I've got my needs covered too as a business owner.
Yeah. And the business still has to run in order that we can still have these jobs for all these amazing women. So to me, it's not mutually exclusive. Like, the practice is the bread and butter that then allows for those times that the important things that you do need to take off for, that there's a stable practice that can afford that. But if we're taking off every time and the culture on the team is, oh, we're all working moms and we're going to be there at everything, there is no practice to support that. So, I hate to use the phrase, you can't have your cake and eat it too, but there is nothing wrong with being a working parent that misses things. And I think that's where it's blurred. As I think back even, 15 years ago when I started the consulting business, there wasn't this like, I have to be there type feeling that every, mom that I sat down with felt. There really was more of this dividing line that happened where it's like, oh, I'm at work. And then if there's evening activities, I'm able to be at those. If it's stuff during the day, I just can't be. I work. And I do think COVID did have an impact on that because we had all this time together. We enjoyed that time together. And then separating that back out again felt like, well, can't I do both? I still want to be there just as much with my kid, but I also still want to and need to work. And so I do think we've just continued to struggle to separate the two. And I do think there's got to be a healthy separation. Like, there's got to be this ability. I think of you as a dentist. Like, if you're going into work and you're still 100% connected to your girls, they're texting you throughout the day, they're expecting a response, they're calling you, you're fielding all these emails from teachers, you're putting things on the calendars for you to be at, and at the same time trying to be 100% focused on your patients, I think it's impossible. I think you are functioning 50% as a dentist and 50% as a mom, not 100% as a dentist and 100% as a mom. The only way that I feel like you can truly do that is to build in some barriers where it's like, you step into the office and you know what, until you've got a break at 11:30 for lunch, you're 100% dentist. Your mind's disconnected. You're not checking emails from the teacher. You're not fielding phone calls from your girls. It's just like, nope, I'm here. I'm 100% here. And then I'll catch up with them over lunch. And I can tell you now, I know you're okay with that. I can't tell you how many women I sit across from. I tell them that, and it's like panic. They're like, but they can't survive without me for those 4 hours. That's a problem. Then maybe you do need to disconnect from work so that you can be more available to them. Maybe that does mean there's a period of time where you're at home and you're available to them. You can't be both. You're killing yourself. You're killing yourself trying to be both. And that is not healthy for you right now.
Which is not a service to your kids at the end of the day.
No.
When you are this ball of stress because either your kids need you or you're about to get fired or you're about to get written up or whatever it is. So if you can make that decision to, yes, I'm going to stop working, I'm going to work from home. But for most of us, that means less of an income. And if that's less of an income, maybe then we're not doing piano lessons. We're not doing dance. So did I really serve my kid by being there to answer all of their messaging throughout the day? Like, something's got to give and you've got to decide what that is. But to me, I think the point of this podcast is let that guilt go. Like, it's okay. Not productive, and it's actually very counterproductive, and it's making you crazy and ineffective. And so if you do want to, looking at the bigger picture for what am I exemplifying, providing, showing my kids, And where am I with everybody's needs? And it seems like if you keep functioning that way, you are not meeting your needs or anybody else's.
Yeah.
So it's got to be a reframing and a rethinking and free yourself from that.
Freedom. I think that's like free your mind from the guilt, but also free your mind to be proud of yourself. Whether you're a business team member, an RDA, an RDH, a dentist, be proud of, like, look at you doing something good for the community. Be proud of that. You should be just as proud of that as you are of your mothering skills or your fathering skills. Like, we don't build ourselves up enough on that, and you're making an impact, and that is really cool that you can be both an impact in your community and in your dental practice, and you can also be as impactful as a parent as well. And so be proud of that.
Excellent topic. I think, like you said, this is kind of a yucky topic, so we don't talk about it. But I think it is super important. And, I guess to me with the sheer volumes that you, like when you're saying 8 out of 10, like that is ridiculous. That is crazy. My heart breaks then going, we've got to figure this out because it's an unhealthy situation all around.
Yeah.
It can be turned into a win-win.
It really can be. I think it's just a matter of reframing, rebuilding some boundaries, and just being proud. It's not a shame to be a working mom. It's actually really something to be proud of. And if you're a stay-at-home mom, be just as proud. Whatever station you pick, be proud of it and be bold in that pride that you have over your work. So hopefully this is a good little reframing. And happy Mother's Day to all our listeners out there. Happy Mother's Day to you.
Happy Mother's Day to you, Mama.
Thanks for joining the conversation today. We hope that you are comforted in knowing that you are not alone, but we also hope that you're walking away with some really great tips and tricks to try in your practice. We value your feedback, so please take a few moments to rate and review the podcast. Finally, we want to make sure that we're covering the topics that matter to you. So track us down on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and let us know what topics you want us to cover. As always, please know that we are rooting for you today as you manage your dental drama.